There's going to be people that are different. I want her to understand herself, know herself, love herself in those spaces, which is a lot of work that has been going on before we even start with school.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast, man. I'm your host, Josh Ashford, and as always, I got the big homie KB, man. I didn't even say it, but he ready. He was ready. He was ready to come in there. Big homie Kevin Brigance, what's good, bro?
Hey, y'all, it is summertime! Woo-hoo-hoo!
You ain't never lie, bro. Look, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole, but we was just complaining about it before the show came on. We in Texas. They don't want us to use our AC. They don't want us to be great. They want us to go to sleep with the AC on 82. It's not happening. Anyway,
the grid is already messing up, and we just got started. This is the first week of heat.
I'm sweating. Shout out to our guest, bro. DJ all the way up there from Columbus, Ohio. What's good, bro?
What's good, everybody? DJ Drul, aka your favorite, and I'm here to talk about this fatherhood work that we've been doing.
Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, this is Dads on Purpose, right?
Yeah. So you watched the show. You watched the show.
I thought
you know we don't never have no agenda.
No,
I know that. I figured something followed out just for reading your shirts.
Hey,
bing, 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 bing.
Yo, DJ, real quick, man. Tell us. Let's start it off real light, man. Because I know you doing the DJ thing. You about to start the Twitch and all that stuff, man. Because you got like a fresh kid. Like I got a fresh kid and you got a fresh kid. Like how old is your youngest? Like 8, 9, 10 months?
She will be 10 months on the 21st. So she's currently 9 months.
Okay. So yeah.
A quarantine kid. Baby.
Yeah, bro. I be trying to tell people
it's a different definition.
COVID kids. They don't like nobody. Like they're not trying to go to nobody's hands. Like, sorry, no. But yeah, man. So you got a fresh kid, and then you got I think a toddler, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Correct, and
a little bit over that. Whatever
doing the DJ thing,
a big kid, whatever they call him.
Yeah, a big kid. But so how are you doing the DJ thing and having the kids? Because like you also do gigs like away from the house. Like you about to do the Twitch, but that's at the house. But you also do things away from the house, and so like usually people want to have the events either like on the weekends or like the evenings or stuff like that. But like, how are you and wifey working that out, man?
Communication is the biggest thing. Family calendar, knowing what she has planned and what she wants. All those things happen first before I even accept a gig. Since I've been married and with children, my gigs that I accept have changed. I don't take any gigs that are like, I don't take any club gigs. I don't do turn-ups. I'm more of a corporate wedding family DJ for the most part because I want to come home. That the basic for all this is that I want to come home. And I don't want
Wait. What do you mean? You want to come home like you gonna get in a fight at the club, or you gonna get in a fight when you get home? Like
no. It's not. My home is safe, and that's where I like to be. Outside of home is where it's not safe. Especially if you're doing clubs and you're doing stuff where people have a lot of drinks and whatever else is involved. I don't put myself in those situations no more.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. I like one of the things that stood out to me was the calendar, bro. Like people don't understand, man. Calendar saves your life. It took us
if your spouse uses it, no shade, no tea to my wife. Because I put things on the calendar, and she'd be like, "Where you going today? Did you check the calendar?" Go ahead,
but communication comes with it, and I know for a while, my wife transitioning to saying, hey, you should have known that, to, oh, well, it wasn't on the calendar, I get it, or it was on the calendar, you still didn't do it, what's up with that, or you didn't plan for it. So it is a transition to get your spouse and your family in like learned habit of checking the calendar and putting things on the calendar. But bro, that has been the biggest lifesaver for me, because then I don't have to remember. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm horrible about remembering appointments, times, and all that good jazz. And then
Same.
you get a student or somebody wants you to come and speak. You're like, yeah, I could do that. And then I get a call later today when I put it on the calendar. Well, you got such and such. Here we go. So,
man, I can't come.
My wife said I can't.
But that's a good one, man. I like that. Put it on the calendar. Use the calendar, man. That's dope,
bro. And I don't. People try to make it so hard.
You gotta know how to communicate.
Huh? What'd you say, DJ?
I was saying you gotta know how to communicate. So the calendar plus sometimes is what's necessary. So like the calendar plus the personal reminder plus the what you doing this week. Did you forget that I have
Look, I was about to ask you.
on?
I was about to ask you, bro. Like, can you over communicate? Like, is that a thing? Because
she can, because she definitely does. But
I'm gonna send this podcast to her.
I don't. She knows. I have told her, I'm like, yo, you don't need to say that anymore. I'm like, I know, I remember, and it's wrote down. So that's another conversation we've had.
Over communication.
What'd you say, Kev?
I said over communication has been a conversation y'all have had.
Yeah, y'all gonna have a conversation about conversating. Bro, but listen, but for real though, there's times like where, and I don't want to say over communicate, but like, so me, I'm real good about letting my wife know if because I network. I do a lot of networking stuff and things like that. So a lot of my networking partners are females. Just the way it is. And so if I'm doing something with a woman, like the other day, you know what I'm saying? Like we got the fatherhood brand. There was one of my friends that was coming to the house to grab some shirts and some hats for Father's Day. And so, yo, wifey, look, she coming over at this time. She coming to get this and this. I don't want nobody outside. None of my neighbors saying, well, Josh had this young lady over. No, listen, first of all, Karen, anyway. You feel me? Like, is there any other time that y'all communicate like that? And look, we didn't even got into the podcast because it's not what we're talking about. So this is just us talking.
For sure. I know I have. And as a DJ, it's like, who booked you? What are they booking you for? Who's going to be there? Those type of things. It's not even just like a sneaky thing. It's just out of respect. Because one, our city isn't small, but our Black community is. And optics are important. How you look and how things can look. You could be in the background of a photo networking. But if you were like networking too close in the background and your wife is like, what was that? That could be a legit concern when you come home. It's just all those things is where you just got to know.
Yeah.
You got to know. And networking can be an issue for some. And we've got over our hump. It's been an issue for us. And that's just being transparent, because I'm not even saying I'm friendly, but I don't know. People who like me really like me. And when they get the chance to get to know me, they like feel like I'm like their person, rather than like their best friend or their confidant, somebody they can talk to. And I can't be that. You know what I'm saying? You got to choose somebody else. It's cool that you feel that you trust me. Nah, you got to choose somebody else, man. I can't be. I got that for my wife, my daughters, and my mom. That's who I am for them. I can't and I won't do that for anybody else.
Yeah,
bro,
I think it's kind of tough and difficult for people like DJ and myself, because even though that DJ doesn't want to be a what's the word? Popular person. He's the DJ though. So everybody wants to come and talk to the DJ and get to know the DJ, regardless of who they are or what they look like. You know what I mean? And I think, he froze on us.
Yeah, he froze on us, bro.
Oh man, if the people in the podcast were, it would be hilarious.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back. You kicked him out. But one of the things that I had to realize too about myself was that I'm a highly relational person, and my wife had to understand that. Like, bro, it's not that I'm out here trying to pick up girls and stuff. I'm just listening, caring, being compassionate as a minister too, right? Like,
you're not gonna use that minister,
but y'all don't understand, man. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy to be tempted. It's so easy to be approached. It's so easy, especially if you're somebody like me. I'm naive. I don't care. Like, I just want to make sure that you feel loved, you feel supported, and that you understand that God loves you. You know what I mean? And so I would find myself face to face with somebody, and it's beautiful that we did grow up I grew up in ministry with great ministers, because they not even taught me, they taught my wife. And even we had to teach my wife, like, hey, if he's over there with a female for more than 5 minutes, she ain't about like, you know what I mean? Like, trying to really get some help. Like, it's something more than that. You need to go around and be like, yo, hey, I am his, hey, how you doing? Lady Brigance, what's up? Does it make sense? So DJ's back.
Hold on.
My bad, y'all.
Oh man. Oh
man, you done messed it all up.
I done messed it all up.
What happened?
Bro,
you froze on us, man. Like, you were locked down.
You froze on us
My
like
bad.
this. And I was like, yo, he frozen.
My bad, y'all. We good?
But
now?
I was just, we good now.
Okay.
It looked like we got a better connection too. So
yeah,
but we were just
move. I couldn't even see you moving, Kev. So
bet. I was just talking about how, just as a minister, like, and me being more of a person, of a caring person, someone who wants to help people, and having to be careful of whom is in my presence and how long I'm spending my time with that other person. And I was just telling Josh, like, we had to have minister training where we had ministers around us that would train, even taught my wife, like, if we're at the after service or, at church, and just women are around me more than, you know how it is, bro. You more than 5 minutes, you digging for something, you looking for something.
Right.
But, just the idea of knowing, like, Kevin's not thinking about how this looks. Kevin's not thinking about what that person is getting out of this. Kevin's just like being Kevin and wanting to love on the person. And that person could be taking something else out of the situation. So my wife needs to be present in order to be like, hey, how you doing? This is my husband. I'm, and just to be that intersector in between.
Yeah. No, but bro, I was gonna say that's exactly what I do. So if I'm with my wife at the time, I'm gonna bring her over and introduce her at the same time, because I noticed something when I got married. I lost a lot of my friends because most of my friends were females, and rightfully so. So I mean, I don't need to kick it with you anymore all the time. We don't need to go to lunch all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? And as far as like with men, I've never had like a lot of dude friends that like I stuck with. You feel me? So like I had some, but like I never really had any. So when I got married, I was just like, I don't have nobody else around. And so I had to get used to like making sure that I wasn't putting off the bat the wrong image when I'm sitting there talking to anybody, whether it's because I do a lot in my church, whether that's in the college ministry and the high school ministry. and things like that. And I don't want to give off that impression there either.
Mhm.
Like, yo, if we talking, like if we conversating about school or something like that, oh, okay, where's your parents? Okay, where's somebody else so we can bring it into this conversation, because I don't ever want to give the impression that I'm out here doing something wrong. You feel me?
Yeah,
and I think that's just something that, like I told y'all, this ain't even a podcast. Like I got
Right.
a whole other prompt, but I think,
But
man,
this is good though.
that, like,
This is good. This is good, bro. Because I was about to say, man, did y'all get that first 6 months with that ring on your finger?
No,
Man,
it was bro. It'll be like, hey, can you help?
I'm gonna let you go, DJ.
Can you help me do this?
No, the reason why I didn't is because I don't wear my ring, and it's not because I'm trying to give. I don't like wearing jewelry. I don't wear nothing. I don't even got my Fitbit on anymore. I just bought it this week.
Look at this.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like wearing jewelry.
Hey, Daryl, like, hey, you better not leave this house without your wig on.
But no, my wife loves when I do wear it. Matter of fact, like I don't know how much we spent on mine, but I was mad. It was like a couple $100. I was mad at that. I was like, give me a rubber band one, like one of the rubber joints. And so I had like 4 of those. Well, then I stopped wearing those because they kept making my fingers sweat. But now, where's she at? I got to look at that. If I want to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm trying to put on the grown man charm or something like that, I might make sure I put it on and be like, hey, baby, you see I got my ring on?
Wow. That's a different type of understanding.
She's cool with me not wearing it. And she knows I don't like wearing it. Not like I'm trying to do something shady. And so when I do wear it, she's just like,
DJ, is that goes over in your house like that? Can you get a
No,
not today.
It's not going down. Like we on vacation and we got the rubber rings for when we take this off on vacation to make sure that wherever we are, it is well known from a long distance that it is what it is. And again, I don't think it's an issue of trust. I don't think it's an issue of flirtation thing. I think it's just how she maybe sees the whole thing, and this is the whole package that she may see, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to. I'm not even saying that you are. I'm just saying that I know my wife, and that may be her picture, and that is the thing where I've had to understand that it may not be my picture. It don't mean nothing to me, but she has a picture of what a husband will look like. She has a picture of what family will look like. And I have to understand that there is a view or a vision that she has. I can fit that. I'm here to fit that. And I don't need to push against it. So that's where we are. And I've had to learn that too. I'm saying this from growth, not from understanding from the beginning.
That's nice.
Because it's about knowing your spouse.
Yeah,
it's about knowing your spouse. Like Kev know that his wife want a hot meal when she come home, so he better make that Zatarans
straight up. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Hey man, just a hot meal. Period. You just got to get in there and make it happen.
Hey, we're gonna get into the podcast.
We already in it, bro.
So we about 20 minutes into it. Look, man, here's what I want to talk about because, and it's. I've been quiet, so like I don't really post on social media like that anymore, just because, I mean, for the most part, I don't really care. But this whole Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday, but at the same time, all these states are like altering what they can teach in the schools. And so it's boiling because I live in a predominantly white city, county, state, country. You know what I mean? And so it's you try not to be the angry black man. You feel me? But when do you kind of just be like, look, man, F this stuff. Like F what y'all talking about. But no, here's what I want to talk about because we got February, the shortest month is Black History Month. Cool. We got Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Cool. But now they're taking out what teachers can teach in our school. And so the whole story really won't get told. So my question, and it's a loaded question, it's a long question. So we're just going to talk through it and that's cool. But what are you guys going to be doing to really instilling the truth in your kids? And I know Kev, you know, Kendall, she's 13, so she's a little bit more advanced than our kids because my daughter's 2.5 and whatever. You know what I mean? But like, where do we go at that? Like, this ain't even a lighthearted topic, but this is just like, this is what's been on my mind, and I'm just like, what are you looking at? Is Kendall over there?
No, it's the puppy, bro.
Oh, bro.
Like,
put the puppy outside, bro.
The dog is acting like a cat. Like, you know, cats will get on top of your couch and walk on the couch and sit down. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't like her. I don't want her. My wife.
Anyway.
Yeah, going back to
that. Anyway.
But yeah, no. So like, what are some? And I'm not even trying to make this heavy or deep or anything like that. But like, what are some of the things that we're gonna do, like in our household, to really speak the truth, bro? And I mean, hell, we've been doing it since Jump.
Yeah.
I guess what's gonna change, right?
Yeah. DJ, what you got, bro?
So DJ for me, no. I was just trying to make sure I waited. So this is a great question. Me and my wife just had partial conversation about this earlier today. It kind of goes along with the transition from my daughter about to be 5. We just went to visit where her school is. She's about to start kindergarten in the fall. We visited the school yesterday. It's not even like a parent orientation thing, but it's like a come see what the school is like for your kindergartner so you can get prepared. Cool. Mm-hmm. I went there and I let my wife pick the school because I'm not from here. So she knows what school is the best. This is a school for the arts. My daughter is really into all this stuff, all the arts, everything like that. So that makes a difference. But
so is it a private school?
No, it was a lottery that you could possibly get into. So
got you.
It's the highest level public school in Columbus. Saying that, when we visited, all the people are white there. That wasn't the demographic I was told when we were discussing it. And that was, as she knew from the beginning, it was an issue to me because I don't want my daughter to go to an all-white school. I don't want my daughter to even go to an all-black school. I want culture. I want mixture. I want all that stuff. And I know that the history has to be told starting from us, but also has to be reinforced at the schools with legit stuff. So saying all that just gives you where I'm at. I am very much into understanding our culture, understanding the truth behind everything. Of course, my daughter is about to be 5, so I'm not telling her about slavery from the jump, but those conversations will come up. I will be reviewing her work and I will be pushing back. Those are things that I feel very specific about, not only in education, but in our workplace. I've been an advocate for the same stuff in my job. Like, y'all talking about Cinco de Mayo, but y'all ignored Juneteenth. This is something I spoke about last year. Then we got the half day, and then like now they're celebrating it and everything. So I already know that I'm going to be the one that will say something and raise my hand because I know it has to be done. Mm-hmm. Of course, it has to be done in the house, but also I want it to be truthfully told. Even if we have to continuously like push, I don't want it to be like I didn't try. So whatever it is, I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand. Like, yo, so what are you guys going to say about this,
bro? On GP, I swear, if someone tries to turn Juneteenth into the Black Cinco de Mayo, it's on site. Like, we're not
going to commercialize it.
Well, I'm like, bro, we're not taking off. We're not going to drink Mickey's and Mad Dog and smoke Black and Miles. That's what we're not going to do. I'm gonna just let you.
But that's what Juneteenth was a big celebration in Texas, and so that's the history, and we have to understand the history. Emancipation Park, Houston, Texas, like. All of that is a part of the Juneteenth history. And so once they heard, they would celebrate every year with the barbecues and with the kickouts and with the hangbacks. And I think that's the most important thing is that, no, don't just make it a holiday without the history. Like, don't don't just say, oh, now that I know. That's just like Tulsa. Now that I know, like, come on, man. Like, we gotta do it justice, and we gotta do some work. And we have to do the work starting off at the home. But like DJ was saying, I went to visit the school. I noticed the school dynamics. I noticed the school makeup. Now it's up to DJ and the families that goes to school in that district to fight. I'm tired of us, bro. I've been doing this for a long time, bro. I've been in the school districts for over 10 years, working for men of color and working to help our men of color. And we do a lot of talk and we do a lot of small things, but the big things happens in our state educational system. So you want the textbooks to be changed? Like, the parents push back, and we have to push back as a whole on a state level, hold our accountables on the district level, and then hold our schools accountable on a school level. And I think that's how we change it. We can no longer continue to try to say, okay, this history, and the law that's in Texas, DJ, bro, they're going to make Texas history about patriotism. Well, we know that it's not about patriotism. These were killers who came into Texas, killed the Indians in Texas, and then went to war with Mexico because Mexico didn't want slavery, but we're going to label them heroes, and that's not true. So for me, what I've done is they have to read their social study books. The teachers to teach the best way that they can, and they're going to be Carquette teachers trying to teach the history, but then we have to enlighten, be the duty of enlighten them on the true history when they come to us. So when they got to the Alamo, it was like, babe, so let's go ahead and talk about what the Alamo really was and what the Alamo really is.
Bro, they lost the Alamo. That's what drives me crazy. They always talk about remember the Alamo. Like, Texas lost. Like, and I mean, like no shade. Like, I get it. It's about the fighting spirit and the things like, and I get it. But like, you lost.
Yeah.
I want to add also that with parenting, I've learned a lot of exposure is good, but context is also what's much better. So like, I know that we have to bring context to everything that they're going to be teaching them in school, and giving our side, our version to our daughter, and letting her know these things and exposing her to this stuff that is age appropriate, and sometimes a little bit before, so that she can know before it's taught to her from these white teachers about what actually happened. So she can either be like, nah, my daddy said, and I read, and I saw this interview from this person that said this. So where are you coming from, teacher? Like, one of those things, not to be disrespectful, not to be a smart aleck person, but I just want her to be exposed and educated with the context of everything. And that's my responsibility. If I'm going to be an active father, activity has to be all around in education and everything.
Yeah. And it's important. Like, I think dads and single parent women have to understand how important it is for dads to be involved in the educational system process. And I don't think that we are seen to be, because we've always put it off on the mom, but it's very important for us to be present in the education field just as much as at home. Like, we're talking about being present at home. We have to be present at the schools. We have to be present in their education.
Bro, I agree. So Kev, you know where I live, like, the area. And, man, that was like, we're talking about the schools and the makeup, and you talk about, DJ, like the dynamics or whatever it's called of the school wasn't what you were told. And man, that was one of the hardest things not hardest things, but one of the biggest decisions for us, because like, where I live, in the city I live, there's only 15,000 people. But don't get wrong, like, it borders next to two cities that are 100,000. So we're just like this little pocket, but we feed into like this massive school district that's like right here. So it feels like we're like worlds away when really we're right there. But so our city feeds into 3 elementaries. So you got one that is blonde hair, blue eyed. You got another one that's kind of like, You know what I mean? And then you got the one that we're feeding into with the house that we bought. And man, just like, even when you ask the community, because I know teachers, I know principals, I talk to the superintendent, like I'm on the board with him for the educational foundation. And man, when you talk about just the different schools and the different what's the word, dynamics, or the difference of the education of all the teachers, and the thought process that they all bring, man, it's just it's drastically different. And that's why I'm so blessed that like the house that we purchased, like it literally feeds into all the schools I want to go to. And the crazy thing is, so I don't know if it's good or bad, the the city that we live in, it only feeds into one middle school. So we gonna see all them kids, but just the thought process is gonna be so different. And man, and I'm just like, I'm thankful that we ended up in this school, as opposed to the different ones, man. But that's just something that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration, like getting that. And not even, I'm not even talking about like just dads, but moms and dads in general. Like, you don't understand how much that kindergarten, first grade, second grade class is really gonna set your kid. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna grow up to make their own mind, but that foundation is set.
But I think it's also too to be cautious to know too, like it's largely our part, right? It's largely our part. Yeah. What do I mean? Kendall was in a diverse, very slivered diverse setting in daycare all the way up into elementary, meaning that we probably was the only Black family at one point in her daycare, right? And so I don't think that hindered who she was. I think it just put the work on us to make sure she was getting the exposure and the connections that she needed outside of where she were. And then when you send her to another place, I realized the most important thing for me, listen, dads, parents, women who are listening, the most important thing for me, get them into the best schools so that they can learn how to read, they can learn how to write, they can learn how to add, they can learn how to subtract, they can learn how to divide. If that's not the environment that you desire, there are social groups and organizations that you can connect your kid with so that they can get that exposure. Like here we have the Deltas, and the Deltas have tons of little events and tons of things, Little Swans, and we have another thing, Fort Worth Little Swans, and so she's a part of that. So even though her experience into school has been not as diverse as we wanted it to be from 0 to middle school, she still had some outside things to connect her to her culture, to connect her to her race, to have those crucial conversations.
Don't you want like, you're teaching it at the house, yeah, but you want the environment that they're in to kind of reinforce the things that you've been teaching.
Definitely you definitely you do, but
no, see, I'm not gonna send I'm not moving to South Lake. Like,
oh well, like, bro, but that's already been given.
South Lake is this area in DFW where you can't buy a house for under $750,000. Like, you just don't do that, and that's where all of the retired NFL athletes and all that stuff, that's where they move. And they all pay in mind.
But they have already had racial issues that they have not tried to work on resolving and still having issues. But DJ, this is what I'm saying. It's like the exposure and the things are great because you want your kid to get the best what they can have. Yes, do we want it to change? Absolutely. But at the same time now, so this is where I'm at. Now you're challenging teachers who don't know what their biases are to start understanding their biases and work through those things during the school year. And that's not acceptable to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I cannot send my kid to your classroom and you're trying to figure out where you land on the racist paradigm with my kids sitting in your room. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what I don't think that. I think we should have these conversations. I think we should, but that needs to happen during the summer, not during the school year. You know what I mean? Right. That needs to happen to be able to step in and say it needs to change. But I remember growing up when the change needed to happen in the school, the parents made the change, not the counselor, not the city council person, we pushed them to make those changes. And I think we're just at the brink of seeing those changes come through, but we still have a lot of work to do, but we have to make sure we're fighting the fight in the right places. Like, yeah, I know you mad at your school, but is that a school issue? Is that a district issue? Or is that a state issue? Does it make sense? The textbook is a state issue. You can talk to the district all you want to, and all they go just the changes to the state, and the state is going to deny them until we go to the state as a family, as people, and say, hey, we demand change and we want change for education for our people.
So, Kevin, what you said really makes sense, and that was what we were going through when there was 3 main schools that we were going to choose from. There was a school that she went to, which was the highest level education, semi-diverse. Then there's a Afrocentric school that, what comes with that. And then there is like a Spanish immersion school. So we wanted her to go to the Spanish schools because, Spanish will be a great thing for her to learn. We wanted her to go to the Afrocentric school because of, what I'm saying, but we knew that this school that we chose would be the best education. And that's where we landed. With that, I did make sense of it because we are culturally, we're around a lot of Black people. We, just as you said, there's things around your community. We're heavily community based. She has African dance. Her daycare is black. You know what I'm saying? And she has like a lot of cousins. Yeah. Bubbles. She has a lot of cousins, so it's not like she won't see any of us or our culture anytime. And she doesn't need to be soaked in it every single moment. It would be good for her to understand it, which is what we're going to teach her. But her education is key right now. But there is something that led me to a question I want to ask y'all that brings it back to me. When was the first time that y'all had a Black teacher?
I don't know.
Well, you hadn't started, right?
No,
you're talking about like us as individuals.
I'm speaking like not your kids, but you personally. When did you have a Black teacher? And when did you have a Black male teacher? Because I think that those things are important to me in the scheme of things, because those people changed me. When I saw a Black teacher, a Black male teacher, I felt more comfortable and I'm more at ease. I didn't have to explain myself, even as a kid. So I wanted to ask y'all that.
I'm gonna be real. I partied a lot in my life, so I don't really remember.
Oh, my bad.
But I remember in middle school there was a teacher. He taught social studies, but I don't know if he was my teacher or not because I always saw him. You feel me? But his name was Mr. Shaw, and I can't recall whether I took his class or not. But that was like 7th, 8th.
So he had no impact on you, though. Clearly,
no. I can't think of the first person that wasn't in my family, as far as impact, that was a Black male. That was my sophomore year in high school. Coach Rubin. We started a step team at our school, and so Coach Rubin and Coach Aaron, they were both Sigmas. Shout out. But they spent every day with us, and like we had 3 dudes on our team, bro. We were hot trash, but they were with us every day, just like pouring into us. And then the Sigmas had a high school mentorship program, kind of like the Alphas. What is the Alpha Bows?
Alpha Bow,
and so they poured into us, and then so we joined like the Sigma Betas in like the Gulf Coast region, and then he took us to some of the HBCUs to do like probates and things like that, and he took us to New Orleans to a conference, which he probably shouldn't have, but that's a whole different other story. But like they were pouring into us, you know what I mean, like on a daily basis. So I would say Coach Rubin, Coach Aaron, and then shout out to Mr. Hearn. Mr. Hearn, he was he was a Black assistant principal. We're still Facebook friends right now to this day. But I don't want to say he ever gave me a pass, but if you were black and you got in trouble in high school, you went to go see Mr. Hearn because he was like your grandpa. Like he was gonna have that conversation with you. You know me?
Yeah.
Like, he was gonna have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
What you doing? He was gonna help you get it right. So I don't know if I had a teacher. But
that's still good though.
Coaches and assistant principals. That was until high school.
Yeah. I had my first black teacher in elementary school. Her name was Miss Jones. Yes, Miss Jones. Miss Jones, 4th and 5th. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to make sure I left anybody out. But my principal was black, and but I grew
in elementary?
Yeah. So my principal was black. So the PE teacher was black. And my 4th and 5th grade teacher was black. And the beautiful thing about that was in 4th grade, you kept the teacher that you were with going into 5th grade. Mm-hmm. So I had Miss Jones for 4th grade and I had Miss Jones for 5th grade. But Miss Jones was the same person who taught us how to walk up and down the stairs. So you walk behind the girl and like literally like we would have to do this every day. Like if you see a woman coming down the stairs, you need to jump in front of her and make sure. She taught us how to walk. I walk. The guys walk on the outside just in case your car jumped the curb, it hit you first. I don't get that. Like all right, I'll take the hit for it, right? Miss Jones taught us how to eat, and she just simply taught us how to eat at lunch, like how to put your stuff out on the table and all that good jazz. Like, and so that is the one person that I can think of that taught us the skills that we like, social skills. You learned. You can't write outside of that red line on the writing paper. If you do, you start all over. So man, it was tough. But then also she taught us the social side of it too. So we were getting educated and we were being social at the same time. The first time I had a male teacher was in middle school. The first time I had a black male teacher is in high school. So did it have an impact on me? I would say yes and no. Because I had my dad was in my life. So my dad was he was always present. He was always available. Like y'all, I can't remember I'll tell this story all the time. I don't remember putting on clothes in elementary school. I used to wake up, be dressed, get on the bus, let's go. like, you know what I mean? So I've had that. I've always had that presence to where it was just enhanced when I got to high school. So a black male principal, black football coaches, a black social studies teacher, and it was just like, hey, it wasn't even like Kevin, get in line. It was like, better. I shouldn't have to. Do I need to call your dad? Nah, bro, we good. You know what I mean? Like, and so to me, that was the thing. I think for me, growing up in Houston in a Houston Independent School District, I love the fact that it was already diverse, and Houston is already a diverse place. So I went to school downtown Houston.
Where you at in Houston? You on the north side, south side?
I lived on the south side, so southwest side of Houston. But I went to school.
Where southwest?
Harm Clark. Okay. Harm Clark, baby. Yeah. H-Town now, just messing. But Harm Clark.
Southwest, I was like, oh, you from A-Leaf? Like what?
Nah, bro, that's west side. Like southwest is more like
I know, but they still claim. Anyways.
That's a whole nother issue, bro. Listen, you trying to get me hot over here, man. But I grew up on it, and just like where we are now, and like you can have school of choice, you can go to the schools that best fit you, and that's how our parents chose. Our parents chose the schools that best fit us, and so we had to audition to stay in the magnet program. You had to audition for the middle school. So that's what happens to me now as a parent, DJ. Now I'm like, okay. That's how I was raised. Let me put her in the school that best fits her. So we chose Montessori because we wanted something that would bring out who she was, her character, that we realized who she was as a kid. After Montessori, we put her in Fort Worth Academy of Fine Arts because she's a singer. She's a dancer. She loves theater. She loves art. So we put her there. Now watch. Even though she was where she needed to be for her talent, she was not where she needed to be for her academics. Like, bro, our experience was not the best experience. Like, it was the best experience for her, but academically, we needed something better. So we allowed her to stay there until middle school. And then when middle school hit, we found the school that number one was diverse. And when I say diverse, bro, it's us. Us sisters is in there. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's JoJo over there. Hey, Joe, what Junebug at? You know what I mean? But I wanted that environment. I wanted that environment for her because that's real life. Real life is you're going to have some people who have really good and high experiences, and you're going to be in some places where you're going to have people who don't have such a great experiences. Yeah. But how do you navigate that? Because that's what the world is like. When you go to college, I don't care what college you go to. You go to Yale. You can go. It's gonna be the same thing. Some people gonna be real high. Some people gonna be real low. You're gonna be like, man, how you got into this college? But they're there, and are you gonna be their friend or you're not gonna be their friend? And so those have been the challenges that I've been enjoying. Is okay. So is that person really your friend? Is that person somebody you really need to have in your life? Is that person going down the same path as you? And then the conversations that come back into the house that we ain't even think that those were the conversations, but saying, okay, so with our family values, what do you think about that now? You know, with what that person is going through, how does that, because as a family, this is what we believe and this is what we think should be, then having those conversations. And so as they matriculate and grow, bro, I think it's our part as parents to help build. They can be prepared for whatever they enter, because that's what real life is. And it's your duty, it's our duty to make sure that they get the best start, the best opportunity. Yeah. I don't care how diverse it is. Man, if you got to be the only little brown baby there, we go work through it. You know what I mean? Right. If that's going to ensure that you get what you need to be successful.
Right. I agree.
DJ, I feel like you was waiting that whole time to jump in there.
It was everything he was saying was like making a lot of sense. When you brought up the values, that's something that I had to remember that I need to make sure I have my own personal and I have my own thoughts, but have I communicated those values with my daughter? Because those pillars that she leaves this house with, she has to understand those things when she's talking to people who have different values and different thoughts. And the diversity in the culture, I want her to be able to know that people are different. And I feel that with that best education of the spot that she's getting at, she's going to get the different cultures, and she'll also know herself. And and as you were saying, that's how the world is.
Yeah,
there's going to be people that are different. And I want her to understand herself, know herself, love herself in those spaces, which is a lot of work that has been going on before we even start with school. Like it's been a drill, like the smallest things of her outfits. I give her choices, she picks out from the choices. And then we have a conversation. I speak like, do you like your outfit? Do you feel that you look good? Do you feel cute? Before we leave here, know that you feel this way, and don't let anybody change you from what you feel about that.
Yeah.
Those things I'm trying to equip her with before she gets into this world that's not going to be on her side. She is a sweet heart. She is a beautiful soul. And I know that the world is going to shape and chip at that. So before it gets to that, I want her to know in herself that she does have a light. And whatever school district she goes into, or whatever she goes into, she has to know that light is inside of her and that nobody can dim it. Only she can dim that. And that's where that work, knowing where she's going and knowing what's going to be expected, we work on those interior and the mental things, and the values that you said just like struck me. It goes along with everything I'm trying to make sure that we instill in her, because it's very important.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.
There you go.
I'm not even gonna do it. Look, I could tell Ken was about to jump in there, so I had to jump in there before he kept talking.
No, you got it, Josh. You got something, bro?
No, I absolutely did not.
Oh man, but that's the truth. What you realize though over time is those values start coming out. So like she's coming home crying. I'm like, what you crying for? My friend, her parents don't love her and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so let's talk about this. What what's going on? And then you will see that the person that you wanted them to be, that you trying to pour into them, They might not, hey, it don't show at home. Right now, she playing Roblox and don't care what's going on. Like the dog needs some attention, but she doing her thing. But when they're out there in that environment, your values will start to show up. What you're pouring into her is starting to show up. And then it's not going to even just be self-esteem for herself. It's going to be so much self-esteem in her where she is now uplifting other people and she's being like that beacon that you've been trying to teach her to be. And I think that's the most important thing. Like there's what I wanted to say too was there's a difference between race and culture. Race and racism is one thing. Culture is totally different. Yes, Black people have set the culture in America. Everything that you see in America is given by Black people, but that's okay because I think sometimes we get mad when we see another race living in our culture. Does it make sense? And everybody froze on me. Y'all there?
I'm just
all right.
I'm here.
But I think we do. We get mad because other races have taken our culture, done whatever they wanted to do with our culture. But then we also have this whole pillar of racism that we have to work through. Does it make sense? We have to make sure that we keep them kind of, hey, this is culture, this is racism, and what I'm dealing. But it is, to me, it's two totally different things. It's totally different things because I've seen individuals who have loved the culture and aren't racist, but they just love the culture, and they might say some things you be like, man, hold on, bruh. But it's not.
But don't try to sneak the culture and claim it as your own stuff. Like on some slide tip, like we're not gonna catch you. Like,
you got to respect the culture.
Kim Kardashian got box braids. No.
Anyway. But definitely call them out. Like respect the culture. Definitely respect the culture. But I also believe that we can't get caught up in the two. You'll see it, especially, bro. Josh, you gonna see it in all the dances when they start doing hip hop and you start seeing the competitions, and you're like,
don't get me started on dances.
I want you to start. Tell me the story. What's your thought?
So first of all, I'm gonna shut this podcast down. So that's first thing. But I'm about, because if I say this is gonna set us all off, and we're not gonna get nothing else accomplished. My wife was telling me, like I was doing something with the baby. I was putting her down to bed last night, and she was out here with our toddler, and they was dancing. And my toddler, she said, Lord Jesus, help me. Like, I got one job as a father. I got one job. Keep him off the pole. My wife told me that my toddler looked at her and said, put your hands on the ground and shake your booty. Where you been at?
Put your hands on the ground and shake your booty.
Bruh, I don't know where she be learning this stuff. Look, DJ, because I'm really about to I'm about to set us because we're not gonna get nothing else accomplished. This is a dope episode. But listen, a couple months ago, my daughter, my 2-year-old, she was playing with her baby dolls, and she likes to put them in the basket. Don't ask me why. That's what she does. And so she looked at one of her babies, and she just like started yelling at. She's my baby. She said, "Lay your ass down. You're getting on my last nerves." And I said, who told you that? I said, did you hear that from Miss Jackie? She was just like, yeah, so Miss Jackie's daycare. And so I asked Miss Jackie,
Wow.
I said, who you been cussing at? She was just like, huh? And so I told her what happened. She's like, oh my goodness. She's like, hey, I'm so sorry. She's like, I got this new girl. She's like, she's been with me 2 weeks. She's been crying 3 days or 3 weeks straight. And she's like, and I had a moment, and her daughter works with her, and her daughter heard her. Her daughter was like, Mama. And I was just like, all right, Miss Jackie. But I'm just like, this girl is too
soaks up everything.
They will tell on everybody that they're around.
Yes.
It'll come out.
Yeah.
It'll come out in their place.
I don't got nothing else. But
yes. But that's why I think that's why it's so important that we understand like what we teach at home first is what we're teaching at home first that matters. I don't care what your school district is doing. I don't care what your school is doing. What you teach at home is what helps change the dynamic of the school. It helps what shapes the community. And we all need to be teaching those things. We all need to be. We can't wait on the school to teach it. We can't wait on listen. Especially in the age where we have testing, right? We're like, man, the testing. Well, I understand we have testing, but there's still some things that we need to teach. Like one of the things that I keep telling my daughter is like, now we even gotten to the point we got the books. Now we need to just stop buying the stuff and start utilizing it and start implementing it and start, seeing if she knows the information and like teaching her outside of Martin Luther King, and Frederick Douglass. Like, my favorite all-time favorite is Mickey Leland. Don't nobody know anything about Mickey Leland, but Mickey Leland is a Houstonian who always took food overseas to Africa and delivered food. Only Black man that actually did something like that on his own. But we have to start educating our kids so that they can know what the history is. But then not only that, make a community of something like that. We don't have to wait just until February. We don't have to wait until Juneteenth. Man, African-American history is in everything. You see an establishment of a city. Yeah, man. You see an establishment of a city. I'm sure of some African Americans there.
There's a story behind every single thing. Everything. And we are a part of everything. I know y'all probably seen High on the Hog or whatever on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't watched it yet.
But there's so much history. I thought it was just going to be a food documentary. But there's so much things that shows we are a part of every piece of history, unrecorded. Everything that they have recorded for themselves. And that's where, as you said, Kev, like we have to be able to give them that exposure, that education. And it's our responsibility. We have to do that.
Yep. Establishing those historical Black colleges tours. Like I remember going on those things. And if we're really serious, all right, now I'm going to get deep. If we're really serious about changing our educational trajectory, I think it would have to deal with the HBCUs. Number one, start sending more of our kids to the HBCUs, spending our dollars into the HBCUs, and then taking those HBCUs to create districts that will help represent the communities that we need. You got for instance, you have a TSU. Well, how can that TSU partner up with the school and provide it with the information and the support that it needs to be successful within its community? I mean, TSU is right in smack dab middle of 5th Ward, 6th Ward. Like you're right in the dead smack. So how can we take the institution from the institution into the streets? Because listen, I don't know about y'all, but any person that I've heard been to an HBCU says their experience has been great and they learned more about their history than they've ever learned. But how do we get that kind of tutelage back to our community? How do we get that kind of information established back in our communities, established in our schools? And we just got work to do, bro. Like seriously, it's 2021. As fathers, as young people, as men of color, as parents of color, we can no longer sit on the sideline and complain about our education. We got to get into the fighting game, and we have to understand on which level, that the fight needs to be fought on.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Go ahead, DJ.
So up here in Ohio, I'm from Dayton. So by us, there's Wilberforce and there's Central State, 2 HBCUs across the street from each other. I went to a summer camp at Central State, which exposed me to, it's summer, so it wasn't that many people there, but it still let me see that there is a space for us to thrive in. And I got to see the people who were there during the summer, as the track, the bands. I got to see all those people, got to hear the sounds. And then I went on an HBC tour. All that stuff really made a change. I didn't go to a HBCU, but it still exposed me to what life could be like. And I always had those thoughts of like, man, I wish. And I want to be able to get my daughter into HBCU, whatever she chooses. But like that would be the direction, because the community that is there, that goes beyond school, that goes along with your lifestyle and your education and your history. And then every school has their own personal history. They have their own people that came from there that made history that you really get to hear about. And I think that if we can, as you said, get them into our community early and just get a fast track to going to there, I think that would be a powerful thing to do.
Bro, this generation is like so much more aware of those opportunities than we were. Because like I'm gonna be real, like I went to my uncle and my brother both went to HBCUs, and like I went to the school, like I went to the campus before I even went to college, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. But that was the only one that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I didn't, because I was looking for the campus, like I wanted the lifestyle. That's what I wanted. And so had I known that there were other options, you know what I mean, I probably wasn't gonna get into Howard, but you know, there's other decent options that are out there. But man, these kids these days, they're so much more aware and knowledgeable than we were when we went to school. And so I think you're already starting to see the shift. And like it or not, athletics is going to lead the way. And so you look at Deion Sanders going to Jackson State. You know, you look at Mikey looking at HBCUs, wanting to go to play basketball. You look at what North Carolina A&T has been doing in track and field. Bro, they were just in the NCAA championships this past weekend. Bro, they won the 4x400. 4x4.
Did they set a record?
Yeah. But not only that, but then Lil Mama ran the 100 and 200, smoked USC, Alabama, Oregon. Bruh, she kills it. And but like they've been doing that for a while, and now you're finally starting to see it on a larger scale. But then you also look at, you know, what Wiley College is doing with their debaters, like killing it in that atmosphere too. And so now you're starting to see it on a larger scale. And so I think athletics and these extracurricular activities are really going to set the tone. And then we wasn't even trying to get into this, but we got to go, man, because we didn't hit 3 different podcasts in this. And, bro, so here's the thing. I'm big on no, for real. I'm big on not discounting or discrediting a topic by just carrying it on. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, yo, like I want to have some people back and talk about this because I didn't get to experience this. You know, I went to PWI with Kev, but I mean, I think this conversation needs to be talked about. I just had this conversation. I lead the audiovisual department at my church, and my right hand man, she's a high school kid, and she just graduated, and so she was debating whether she was going to go to Southern or she was going to go to OU. And bro, we had like some conversations like about it, and we like. We had some conversation, like we was having conversations like she wasn't even having with her parents because I was telling her dad after I was like, yo, we just talked about this. And he was like, good. He's like, I appreciate you. And bro, we need to talk about this. Anyways,
it needs to be exposed more.
Exactly.
I think there needs to be more of us on TV in the colleges. There needs to be a sports channel that's directly for HBCUs that is predominant. Like ESPN needs to show more of this. There's a lot of systematic things that are preventing us to be seen and known. Also, that's a deeper conversation. But yes, that's what I always.
Here's the thing. Now that we got the internet, we don't.
But it's still access, right? Because this is what I'm frustrated with when you're talking about ESPN. How hard is it for the schools are broadcasting via internet. Like you can watch their games via internet. It's just hard to get to it. But how hard is it for ESPN just to pipe that feed into their system that they're showing all of the bro? You're already making millions of dollars. Any sport, anything sport jump on the TV.
It's all about
and I get it. I get it.
All you see. That's why the SEC is the best. But no, the SEC got the most money. Get out my face.
Exactly. I get it. But that's like you said, that's what's going to get. So when we get our stars to stop going to these schools and get them to start going to the HBCUs, the money will flow, right? Because now the people want to.
Where's he planning on going? Do y'all know who Mikey is?
I hadn't checked.
You don't know who Mikey is? So Mikey's the number one, like he's been like one of the top recruits for like my man don't graduate high school for like another 2 years. Dang. But he's been one of the number one recruits for like the last 4 years. He's got an offer from he could go anywhere he wants to. And in the last year, he's finally started talking about like, yo, he's like, why am I going to go make all these PWIs more money? He was just like, yo, he's like, I'm entertaining, you know, HBCUs. Like, Like, let's talk. And so what you're
Mhm.
gonna
Shout out to
start
his
seeing,
parents.
what you've already started to see, and if you pay attention next year, bro, like those schools are coming. Like
Mhm.
the HBCU, they got some ballers. And so you're gonna start seeing that shift.
Mhm.
Even with football too. Like Cam Newton's little brother, you know what I'm saying? He went to Howard. But anyways, man,
But
let's get out
it's
of
the
here. 'Cause we've
shift.
been on
It's the shift. It gotta happen, bro. It gotta happen. But it starts at the home because
Yeah.
again, there's somebody in those homes that cares about the student and that sees the opportunity for that student. Because I guarantee you, there could even be more athletes going to these schools if somebody was just talking to them. And not every kid has that access. And I think one of the things, DJ, that you realize as your kid starts progressing is
Mhm.
that she's going to be more well off than some of the other kids are going to be, right? It's America in 2021. These situations ain't cared about your color, your skin tone, nothing. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of that. I think that's the beauty of where we are today. Like back then, it affected one culture, it affected one race. Now it's affecting so many people, they just don't know what to do. We've been dealing with it for so long. We know how to navigate it, but it's hitting them and they're like, oh my God, what do we do? You know, sound the alarms. And we're like, hey, calm down. You just go be with what you need, you know, and let us redirect. And so we really do need, especially fathers, show up to your schools. Show up, show your face, let them know you're involved. We get it. You go to work early, pick them up in the afternoon, like be involved so that they can see that not only is just the parent, the mama is the one that cares, but the dad that's present. And when, listen, my wife went to some of the teacher conferences. I went and I didn't say anything, but when I spoke, we made some changes happen. Why? Because we will only tolerate so many things. Does that make sense? And when a man is passionate about his kids and he wants to be heard, they see that passion and they're more willing to make a move.
I agree.
Noted. DJ, what you got, man? Final thoughts.
Activity in the house is super important. And Kev, I'm going to be coming to you this first year of kindergarten. I'm going to need your assistance on hey, what do I do next? You know what I'm saying? Because I got to look to my people that has been there before, because I'm getting educated as much as she's getting educated. It's just on different levels. I don't know it all, but I need to know how to equip her. So I'm with it.
Kev, I'm coming to you when we start doing this new math, because don't come to why 2 + 2 is 4.
Don't come to me. Come to Miss Brigance, because I'm gonna do the old school way, bro. I'm gonna do straight up. That's how you get it. That's how you get it. That's how my dad.
Johnny has 2. Why are you yelling? I'm not gonna get it right. If Johnny got 3 apples and Susan takes 2, how many does he have? If Johnny, yo,
look, you gotta count those sticks. You gotta start adding them sticks up, bro. Listen,
y'all
for
be
me,
great.
man,
Go ahead, Kev.
Man, for me, man, I think
I didn't even let you go. My bad.
You didn't. That's why I just jumped in, because you was about to shut it down. Listen, I think all of this is great, and I really think it's important because we carry our culture. And I think one thing as a family, we need to get back to family reunions. Understand where your family comes from. Like, understand who's in your family. Understand, and it's something that just resonated with my heart just recently, because I was just thinking about, man, when was the last time I was with my whole family? You know what I mean? But I think those is where we get those stories, culture. That's where all that stuff. That's where that stuff comes from. And we have to get back to being family oriented. We have to get back to telling the stories and be present. Be present when it counts. Don't be present and tell the teacher, stop calling y'all when your kid is in trouble. Call me when they're great. Call me when there's something else that I can do, and be that voice for that. So we are the first teachers in our household. And when it comes to the true history, we have to unlock that. And if you don't listen, you might be sitting there saying, well, I don't even know my true history. I don't know what's real. I don't know, man, that's okay. Learn together. Get the books. Go visit DC. Go take road trips. I'm sure in your community in Ohio where you are, DJ, I'm sure there's tons of history you could just go and like, come on, man. There's tons of history you could show. For us, we have no, man, you go to Houston, Emancipation Park, all of the communities that were established from Juneteenth, you know what I mean? All of the history that's there in Galveston, all the way up. Like, we live in a state that we never take our kids to explain it to them. So we are the first teachers. Make sure we do our part and teach our kids before anybody else have an opportunity to teach them.
For sure.
Boom, shakalaka. That's it. Yo, appreciate you guys, man.
Yo, I could do this for hours. I could have did this for hours. Y'all had so many topics.
Here's the thing. You're not the first person to say that. Like, there's so many of y'all that say, like, oh, I could have talked to hours. I don't need y'all to talk for hours.
I know.
I need y'all to give me like, I don't need you to play the whole game and then 3 overtimes. I need like a solid 3 quarters, and we could just shut it down. And just
a fire feature, hot 16 bars, and let's get up out of here.
Yo, man, I appreciate you guys. Until next week, man. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Give us likes, give us comments, share it with your friends. 1, 2, 3. Share it with 3 people. Until next week, y'all. Take care. Peace.